Well, this is a little late. So, if you didn't know, pre-Lightfall, Stasis had some like not so good interactions when dealing with champions. So specifically Overloads and Unstoppables. So prior to Lightfall, let's say for Overloads, you know, if you were to freeze an Overload champion, it would be like the equivalent to throwing a health grenade, a healing grenade on them. They would just almost immediately, yeah, not almost immediately, immediately upon being frozen, they'd start regenerating health, right? Obviously, that's a bad thing because why would you want to heal an enemy, right? So I had a lot of pet peeves when it came to Stasis and Overload champions. Now, also Unstoppables, not as bad, but the interaction, what it used to be with them is, well, normally for an Unstoppable, when you stun them, you get a 300% damage increase against that Unstoppable while they're stunned. Now, if they were to freeze during that stun, you'd lose that 300% damage increase, right? So again, not great. Definitely not as annoying as Overloads because you're not like healing the enemy instantly. So, but now with Lightfall, they fixed it actually, and I forgot to look into it. I remembered when they were like going over the notes on what the changes were going to be, that I thought this was going to be the case. But then, you know, Lightfall came out, all the Strand stuff, all the new builds, and, you know, you just get preoccupied in that. And then this week with Glassway being in rotation again, I think it's like every single season for like the last, I don't know, 4 seasons, I feel like Glassway's been around. But anyways, because of that, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about this thing, so I'm going to give it a shot. And you know what? It works great, especially for Warlocks, especially for Overloads. Now, just while we're here, I'm just going to go through the mechanics quickly for Unstoppables. So, for Unstoppables, how it works is when you freeze them and then you break the ice, you get the shatter damage. That's what stuns the Unstoppable. So, just a quick thing, if you just want to take it casual and easy on this, is, you know, do the shatter damage, get the initial stun. If you can't burn them down or kill them in that first stun, freeze them again as they wake up, and then you just want to wait for their little glowing horns to stop glowing, and then break the ice and get the shatter damage again. So when their horns are glowing, you can't stun them. So if you, like this, break the ice while the horns are still glowing, they're going to wake up and immediately attack you. There's not going to be a stun. No stun means there's a little bit extra stress there that you maybe didn't have to deal with initially. So easiest way, just stand there, look at them while they're an ice cube, their horns stop glowing, break the ice, get the shatter damage, get the stun, and just in peace kill the Unstoppable champion. So easy. Now for overloads. So for them, it's actually slowing that's going to get the stun on them, not the freezing. So things like, you know, the glacier grenade, you're probably not going to want to use that one because that only does freezing. You're not going to get a stun. Maybe if you get like a direct hit, like you throw your grenade off his forehead, it might give him a quick stun there, but then it's going to freeze him right away. So it's kind of not so good. Dustfield grenades, right? That's good. Anything that's in the Dustfield grenade will be affected by slow, so it will stun. But the best thing here, and that's Warlocks. Warlocks this season, pretty good, not too bad. But your turrets. So your turrets shoot their little shots at him. Each one of those shots is going to slow. It will freeze too, but it's basically you make a turret that is just going to stun overloads. Any overloads around, it's going to stun, right? Anything that they're shooting at for overloads will stun. They like work great. So here for a lot of this footage, I'm on the Master Glassway solo. So now normally Master's not a big deal, right? But with the changes they did with difficulty and stuff like that, it's a lot closer to feeling like a Grandmaster. So Grandmaster, the only difference is you're like 5 more power under, and like the enemies are a bit more beefy. That's all. So I think there's a change this week in the notes there coming to that. Maybe Masters are going to be a little bit easier if they haven't been already. But Glassway has never been easier for me when I was running my Shade Binder here, my Warlock. So the turrets they're constantly stunning. These Overload champions, the only thing I have to watch out for is I have to break the ice. So whenever a target freezes, you're better off to break it. So for Unstoppables, you want to leave them frozen until they're ready to stun again. For Overloads, though, as soon as they get frozen, you probably want to bust that ice because you can't re-stun them, reapply the stun so that they don't regenerate health if they're frozen, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Yeah. The best thing about this is you can throw down your grenade if you're a Warlock, and that's the thing that's doing all the stunning. You can switch to any weapon you want. So if you want to use light machine guns, just rockets, linears, anything you want. Wither Horde, all that. It's great. Like, you can use any weapon you want to take care of overloads now, as long as you have one of your turret grenades out shooting. So man, it's much better than it has been. So I don't hate stasis anymore for dealing with champions. I kind of like it. I kind of like it a lot. Do I like it more than Strand? No. Stringing enemies up with suspend and doing all that stuff, man, that's so much more enjoyable anyways. But this is a close second, especially in certain situations like Glassway here. Oh man, it's great. Now, there's a couple things to watch out for this. One is Osteo. So I like using Osteo a lot. This season, submachine guns for Overload. So obviously I'm using Osteo Striga for most of my Overload interactions. Now, when you apply the poison, the damage over time effect from Osteo though, and then that enemy gets frozen after you've applied that, the damage over time thing gets like negated, like it disappears. So it stops doing damage over time. So that's an unfortunate interaction, but it seems fair. Anyways, it doesn't have to be too overpowered. So something to keep in mind. So if you're planning on stunning overloads with stasis and your warlock running the turrets, stasis turrets, then I think you're totally cool if you want to use something that's not Osteo. So like anything else, honestly, like Thunderlord. I know Thunderlord does overloads anyways, but I just feel like Thunderlord would really work really well with a stasis turret in this scenario. But yeah, that's it. That's it. So just a little FYI, I guess, if you didn't know. But if you're Warlock, try running stasis turrets against overloads. I think you'll really like it. I think it'll like just make it a lot more peaceful for you at the very least. Also, I should add a little side note disclaimer here. So if you didn't catch on, I don't like stasis, or I really didn't like stasis prior to Lightfall. So I don't have tons of experience, and I've seen a lot of people with like really great builds for stasis, and like they do really good at endgame content. So I'm just not one of them. I've always hated ice and snow. I think it's because I'm from Canada, and just being in the cold sucks. So if I left something out that you think's important or applicable for overloads and unstoppables, please leave a comment. Teach me something. Because I honestly, I probably just don't know. Anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching.